What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Miami Miles. My name's Mickey. In this video, I've got a huge surprise plan for you. That's right, baby. The 2022 CT4-V Blackwing. Just look at that. How aggressive, gnarly, delicious does that thing look? As a matter of fact, the first time I saw it, I was like, damn! Cadillac did a hell of a job making a regular ass looking CT4 look like that. And guys, honestly, I've driven the car for about 1 block from my office building over here to here. And the car's already kind of tickled my fancy a little bit. You know how I am. I get really aroused anytime I drive a performance car like this. So, in this video, before I get out of control and before I let my emotions take a hold of my every word, I'm gonna walk you through the spec of the car and why this is one of the best specs CT4-V Blackwings in the world. And then I'm gonna drive the car for you. I'm gonna talk about the handling, the braking, the performance. I'm gonna talk about the transmission, that 10-speed automatic transmission. And guys, at the end, I'm gonna give you a verdict. And that verdict is gonna compare this car to the ultimate driver's car, my 2018 GT3 Touring. Now I know you guys are like,
but those cars don't compete against one another, Mickey.
I know, Johnny, I'm with you. I know they don't compete, but I also know that I need a barometer by which to grade these cars, because if this car gives me even half the chub that my GT3 Touring gives me every day, then it's a hell of a proposition for $80,000. So this may be one of the very best performance bargains in the entire world. Anyways, let's go over the spec. So as we make our way around the front of the car, we'll see the most beautiful angle of the CT4-V Blackwing, that front end. Look at how damn aggressive this thing looks. Not only do we have a vent over there, we have a vent down here for what appears to be the heat exchanger, these beautiful V-meshed grills, and then the 2 vents on the other side. But guys, look, this car is fitted with what I believe to be the most necessary option in any Blackwing vehicle, the Carbon Pack 1. Now this, you're like, Mickey, why do we need extra carbon fiber for a bunch of money? Johnny, because this car, without the carbon pack, is hard to differentiate between this and the original CT4-V. This is a Blackwing, so we need the special carbon fiber. We need the front lip that looks like it was pulled off of a 600 LT. The front dive planes that came off of a 2020 ZL1 1LE. And then as we go around the side, the carbon fiber theme continues, guys, with the Carbon Pack 2 that includes these rockers, okay, and in the back, which we'll get to in a minute, a beautiful carbon fiber diffuser. Now, one of the coolest touches of this car, something that they pulled from the Germans, from the Italians, from the English, is you see this little key, it's red. And it's painted red in the exact same shade of red as the brake calipers. Look at that, guys. How dope is that? This brake is a 15-inch brake with a 5-piston caliper made by Brembo. Just look at the sheer size of that thing. And the back, so that we cover that quickly, is a 13.4-inch brake with a 4-piston caliper. The stopping power and feel in this car is absolutely immense. But guys, let's make our way to the back of this thing, where I think resides the feature that was a Magnum that doesn't fit, on your traditional car because it's so damn big. Look at this. Look at this. For 80 grand, this whole car with all of his options is 80 grand. Look at this damn spoiler. When have you seen a spoiler this big in a car like this? Look at that thing, okay? And guys, and I hate to focus on the back, but I love it. Look at this carbon fiber rear diffuser. Oh my God, and the carbon fiber extends all the way down. Ay, 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 Cadillac. Cadillac, baby. What a hell of a design for the price. Guys, let's go ahead and jump into the interior to take a look if this theme of greatness, of sportiness, of premium feel continues into the inside. So as we open the door, I gotta press this little button, I think, to do the, there we go. As we open the door, we are met with an amazing quilted leather sports seat, okay? And this is the same quilted leather sports seat that I requested on my CT5-V Blackwing. Now, as we climb into the cockpit, the seats feel an awful lot like the sports seats in a C63S. I don't know if you guys have ever sat in those, or the AMG GT or the AMG GTR. It's like they were copy and pasted from there, which is kind of weird. But you'll see just how sporty this front steering wheel is. The paddles, and that's the first thing I check in a General Motors car, because I'm used to a General Motors car from 2010 where the paddles used to be flimsy plastic, but the paddles here are metal. I think they're magnesium, and when you press them, you actually get a satisfactory click. Whereas for 10 years, GM didn't know how to make a damn paddle. Then the steering wheel is appointed with this amazing piece of carbon fiber, a serial number of some kind that's probably to make you think that the car is rare. I don't know how rare it'll be, but it's pretty cool. And then over here, we'll see the center console, which again is appointed with carbon fiber, this amazing 10-speed automatic gear lever. And up here, a simple infotainment system. We won't get too much into that. And then over to the right, not much to be noted. So overall, an extremely simple design. And what I want to do now, guys, is I want to go for a damn drive of this thing. I want to tell you how it makes me feel, how it tickles my fancy. So let's go ahead, turn it on, and go for a drive. All right, guys, so here we are in the car. I've just departed from where I was parked, and to be frank, the car feels absolutely normal. It's sublime in the way that the magno-rheological dampers absorb the bumps. This is actually an extremely comfortable car, and I noticed the stark contrast between the ride in this and that in my GT3 Touring. You can tell that that's set up more for race, more for the track, and this thing in comfort mode is absolutely delicious. The way that it rides over bumps and controls its body anytime there are uneven surfaces in the road, and that's within driving the car for a couple miles up here on the freeway. What a drive. Now guys, this is Miami Miles. In Miami Miles, we don't really care about much besides the way a car makes you feel, and to me, the importance of how a car makes you feel cannot be determined in comfort mode. So right here on the steering wheel, there is a little button, a V button, and that V button I think was created to replicate or copy the M button from the M3 and M4. When you press the V button, you get a change to the dash, an automatic upshift or downshift on the transmission, and you get this display indicating your steering, suspension, engine, brake feel, engine sound, and performance traction management. Right away, as a matter of fact, you can feel the bumps. Those electromagno-rheological dampers automatically react to every single surface, and to be frank, the car feels instantaneously sporty. So I'm going to drop it down into manual gear shift, downshift into 5th, 4th, 3rd gear, 2nd gear. Let's go. Oh my goodness. Okay, Cadillac. Wow. All right, so where do I start? The car so far. Now, I don't like to give knee-jerk reactions, even though it seems like I end up giving them on every single review that I do. But right away, let's talk about the responsiveness of that twin turbo 3.6 liter 472 horsepower V6. Honestly, guys, the turbo lag is imperceivable. It's like it's not even there. The moment you put your foot down, you get torque. There is no lag. Hell of a response. I don't know how they did it, guys, but it's so damn responsive. Oh my goodness. And I think that thought, that telepathy of the engine response kind of translates to the transmission. Now, the transmission on upshift may be the fastest shifting transmission. Crack, crack, crack. Ah, it's like you're whipping, I want to say what it's like you're whipping something. I won't say what it is, guys, but on the upshift, it's spectacular. Now, contrastingly, guys, on the downshift, like every General Motors car, the moment you press the paddle, between the time you hit the paddle and it delivers the shift, there is a little lag, but it's almost negligible. It's like, it's something you don't really notice. Like, you know, it's not quite dual clutch levels of performance, but it's good enough. So the transmission, in addition to the engine, is quite responsive and overall really, really damn good. But where I think this car is a little bit of a shock to me is in the way that it handles, the way it takes the corner. So if we go here, like, it's so responsive. It just darts. You pull, oh my goodness. And there's a bunch of traffic in Miami like always, but the way that it darts into a corner is almost borderline telepathic. Like, I'm gonna go around this corner right here. Look at how it turns in. Oh my God. What a vehicle, guys. Wow. This is a hell of a car, guys. The handling, the immediacy of the steering, combined with that instantaneous shifting transmission and that V6 power plant for $77,000, $80,000. What the hell is going on? And guys, I haven't even touched upon the brakes. The brakes inspire so much damn confidence. Like, I've been driving the car for a little bit now, and I've had to test out the brakes going in and out of traffic. Honestly, the moment you hit the brakes, they respond. And it's as if you've put down into the ground a couple claws of metal and you're tearing up the asphalt beneath you. These brakes are absolutely spectacular. So right now, 70, 80, 90, 100 brakes. Oh my God! Oh my God! What a braking system! What is this thing for a four-door sedan made for damn families? What an automobile! Oh man, what can I say about this car besides the fact that Cadillac has outdone themselves? Now, don't get me wrong, it's not perfect. It's not the epitome of a sports sedan. I'm sure there's something out there that ekes out the performance advantage on this. But as I kind of bring this review to a conclusion and kind of my emotions settle down and my endorphins stop flowing, let me tell you how I feel about this car. And the best way I know how is to give you an analogy with my GT3 Touring. I'm gonna go point by point and compare each of the parameters of this car and how it made me feel to that car, because I think for a third of the price, this provides a hell of a lot more of a third of the driving experience. So let's start with the engine. The engine itself, that V6 3.6 liter 472 horsepower engine, is extremely responsive. It actually doesn't sound all that bad for a V6. It sounds pretty dang good, but ultimately up top, it doesn't give you that level of fizz. It doesn't give you the explosion of emotion at 7,000 RPM. And that is why this engine out of 10 compared to my GT3 is a 7. But when we go and we continue down the drivetrain, we run into this transmission. And this transmission for an automatic is absolutely spectacular. The transmission is a 10-speed and it's so damn responsive on that upshift. That being said, the downshift does it in just a little bit, because between the time I pull that paddle and the time it delivers the downshift, there is a little bit of a lag, which means that, you know, we're missing a little bit of control that we get within your normal PDK transmission. So out of 10, out of the best transmission I've ever driven in terms of an automatic, which is my 600 LT, I'm gonna give this thing an 8. Now, so far, the engine and the transmission haven't been utterly perfect, but that is when we run into the steering and handling. Guys, these tires, the Michelin Pilot 4S's, the Magna Rheological dampers, the way that this steering darts you into a bend, literally you think about it and telepathically the car shifts direction. I've never felt in a sedan steering quite like this. As a matter of fact, I used to have a C63, the S version with 500 horsepower, and the steering compared to this was lazy. It wasn't as immediate. It did not inspire this sense of confidence. Like if we turn this thing in here, dude, this steering honestly is spectacular, just how it gives you the utmost control of the vehicle. And I think the way that it steers is honestly, guys, a 9 out of 10. It's borderlining the GT3 Touring. It's not quite McLaren 600 LT because that was a hydraulic rack, and that hydraulic rack literally transmitted all the feels up the rack into your hands. But at the same time, that car had a bunch of issues with the squeaking and rattling of the steering rack. Nonetheless, the steering was exceptional. So this steering is a 9 out of 10. But here's where we get to the brakes. The brakes. The brakes, guys. I have never felt a set of brakes this good in terms of their feel in a sedan. So we're coming up to this stop sign right here. What is this? It feels like my eyes are gonna pop out of the front of my skull and my forehead's gonna smash into the front windshield. The brakes, the confidence that they inspire are dangerous, because honestly, I feel like driving this car around like an absolute maniac, because I know that I've got the requisite stopping power to stop me should I get myself into a bind. what stopping performance. Like overall, guys, let me summarize this for you now that, you know, I'm a little more calm and you've heard that the brakes, the steering are an absolute masterpiece. And in case I didn't mention it, overall, I think that the brakes are a 9 out of 10, and they can't quite be a 10 because they're not the carbon ceramics, but as a steel brake package, they're absolutely amazing. So thus far, you're like,
Mickey, another car that you're absolutely in love.
And Johnny, look, you're almost 100% correct. I like this car a lot, and I would drive the shit out of this car, hence why I've ordered the CT5. Now that I've driven this, I think that the CT4-V Blackwing may be my favorite car of all time. Like, this thing is spectacular. Imagine that. But oh my God, what a car. Brakes. All right, guys, let's get into the last two parameters, the things that matter to me most. The sound of the car. How does the car sound? Now, because of the V6, like most V6s, it sounds mean, it sounds aggressive, but it's not perfect. It's not the most sonorous engine in the world. I would give the engine, the sound, a 7 out of 10, but guys, even though the sound, the engine and the transmission aren't quite at the perfection level that I'm accustomed to in both my 600LT and GT3, I'm really pulling at straws, right? This car is absolutely perfect otherwise, and out of 10 in terms of how it makes me feel as a driver, I would say that this car is almost a 9 out of 10. I would say 8.8, 8.7 out of 10. It can't quite be a 9 because that's what my 600LT was, and it can't quite be a 10 because that's what my GT3 Touring is. Nonetheless, it's a hell of an experience, a hell of a four-door sedan. And guys, if you're in a position to afford a car that's 55 grand to 75 grand with some options, I definitely recommend you go right now and you buy one of these, or you order it. I don't know if they're inventorying them, whatever the hell they're doing, go buy one of these things, because it gives you something that 99.9% of cars don't give you: the tactility, the aggressiveness, the acceleration, the shifts, the handling, and the brakes. Guys, hell of a car. Anyways, guys, if you enjoyed that video, scroll down below, give me a subscribe, give me a thumbs up, and I look forward to seeing you next video. Take care, guys.